Welcome, everybody. This is the Big League podcast number 2. Uh, this is Chris Spokane here with the commish,
Yeah.
Zeus.
Another day's gone by, another sim, so we've got some different results than when we were talking last night. But yeah, let's let's take a look at today at the Ice Conference and see what's going on over there, and who's making a push for the first playoffs here. Here in the big league. Let's take a look at the Fire Conference real quick and just see what happened since we talked yesterday, because I just thought this was kind of curious. You and I both had kind of pegged our playoff teams and said certain other teams didn't have a chance, but if you look at Louisville real quick, kind of made a push for a playoff spot.
Yeah. Yeah, they really did. Push, yeah, they did.
Are you
Caught
sharing
up to
this
me.
on the stream right now?
I am not. Let me switch that over.
Yeah, good call.
Good call. Thank you.
Of course. But yeah, Louisville, they're up to 66 and 70. They've kind of caught St. Louis, who kind of lagged behind there and is like 3.5 games back, but 4 games back, striking distance of possibly making some noise for a playoff spot with a month left. So maybe we counted them out a little early, but just wanted to give that kind of props over there. And yeah, so let's look at the Ice Conference today, and let's look at the Jade Division to start things off. We had made our predictions on the Jade Division, and that the division's really kind of been shaken up the last couple sims here. Pretty different from what's been going on all season. Atlanta's really had that division by the balls, but Fort Collins has made a run here, and Tampa's right in the window. So yeah, let's take a look and see what our predictions were and see where we were right, where we were wrong, and what's going on right now. We both had Tampa winning this division. Yeah. It could still happen.
Still could. It's a close one.
Yeah, they haven't felt like division winners all season long. They've been just kind of middle of the pack. But yeah, Fort Collins is leading this division, so let's take a look at them. We actually had them
Atlanta
finishing.
is leading the division.
Oh, is that how you see it on your? Okay, I see it differently on my screen, so that's cool. Let's click into Atlanta then. Atlanta's been leading all.
Maybe I don't think I downloaded the new file. Hold on.
Oh, are you serious?
I might be serious.
That's a problem. So yeah, you might want to do that. How quick can you download? Do it real quick.
You'll find out. Paul's you're about to be real jealous, aren't you? Oh, it's about to be done. Come on now.
Wow, my computer is so slow. I am kind of jealous. That's it's disgusting.
All right. Yep. I'll be back to normal here in a second. Yeah. League standings. Yeah, Fort Collins is leading. Yeah, this is looking a lot different now.
Yeah, so let's click into Fort Collins real quick. You had them finishing third. I had them finishing second. So we both thought they had a pretty good team.
Yes.
Again, Kyle was pretty meticulous when he was doing his draft, so I had a feeling he knew what he was doing. And we got a little tidbit of information in general chat the other day that said he's won a couple other championships in his other league, which is a pretty competitive league. So he knows what he's doing, and he's now tied for first with Atlanta and Jason. So let's take a look at Kyle's team, which looks like his pitching's kind of been the strong suit here for him so far, and some of the strongest in the Ice Conference with the lowest runs against and the best starters ERA.
Yeah.
Defense as well, tied for first in errors and great with the defensive efficiency. So offense is kind of average to below average. So definitely has a weakness, and maybe that's why they haven't really made a push until late here. But yeah, if you look at their recent schedule, they've been on fire. I feel like.
Yeah.
To make this push, like and Atlanta's stumbled at the same time.
Look at this graph. That shows it right there. It's a steep incline right there.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, they've just made a charge since basically the All-Star break.
Yeah.
And this is a team that hasn't made any huge moves, I feel like. I don't think they made a trade during the deadline, so they've just kind of stuck with their guns of their draft. If you look, they have probably the league leader, I want to say, in saves right now. Seth Clemens, 41 saves, 2.05
Wow.
ERA. And then 3 starters all below a 3.5 ERA. They all look really good. Let's click into some of these guys, take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look at this guy. He looks like he either wins or loses.
28 years old.
27. Yeah, really good. Who else are you looking at?
Yeah, I don't know.
Kyle Lacey, 32 homers.
Yeah, this guy looks pretty good. Second round pick.
Yeah, nasty.
So yeah, this is the first place team in the Jade Conference right now, in quite a dogfight. So
Ooh. Looks like it's gonna be a fun ride with this Jade Conference.
yeah, for sure. I think it's really anybody's game down the stretch. They're going to all be going up against everybody in the Jade's going to be going up against Sapphire teams, I think, down the stretch for the schedule. So definitely going to be a dogfight between the top teams in the Jade and the top teams in the Sapphire for who's going to not just get those top 2 spots, which is up for grabs in both divisions, but who's going to also win the division in this case. So
Yeah.
all right, yeah, let's take a look at the next team here that's in that same kind of fight for this J division, and the team that's been stumbling here just a little bit, but still, in really great position is Atlanta. Atlanta and Jason here. So looking at his team, he's got a pretty good. I mean, I feel like he's got a pretty good offense if you look at his team roster and his like home run numbers. But looking at his actual team rankings, his offense has been pretty disappointing for him.
Yeah.
He's got a few huge holes. It looks like there's a 169 hitter there, a 165 hitter. Yeah, just can't hit for average. So I guess if you can't get guys on base and hit for average, it doesn't matter if you're 4th in the league at home runs.
I know he tried getting help, and I think it's this fella right here.
It does show you how much like home runs can carry a team though, because he's still like he's one of the better teams, and he's 13th out of 14th in like a couple categories here. But
his pitching's
if you
definitely
can knock the ball out of the park and score runs. So. But yeah, his pitching's been lights out, right? Just right there with Fort Collins. Fort Collins was first in runs against and starters ERA. Atlanta's second. Atlanta's got the better bullpen by far. And I was talking about Atlanta's bullpen at the All-Star break, like 2 guys with sub 1 ERAs at the All-Star break, and it looks like one of them still has a sub 1 ERA.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's.
I don't see a closer either. It looks like he's just got him set up, unless I'm missing.
That's what it's got set up there.
Yeah, set up. So interesting. But Atlanta's pitching carrying the way, and defense again, another really good defensive team has committed a couple more errors than some of the other teams, but overall just like a really strong team in terms of getting that extra out of plays and doing stuff like that. So let's look at his starters just a little bit. He's got some real nice starters over there: McKenty, Espinoza, ERAs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of pitches.
Like,
a lot of pitches.
got these guys in the mid of the inaugural draft, like late 10 to 20 round, and they're doing their job. Danny Espinoza, let's take a look at him real quick. Same thing. He's a 5th round pick. He actually is pretty early, so I wonder if this guy dev'd down or if Atlanta just saw something in him. But yeah, and then his offense there: Diego Orta, third base, the 26 homers. Jason Menard. I feel like I've seen his name pop up a bunch.
Yeah, he was a trade with me actually.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I traded for him, or he traded for him. I mean, he needed some offensive help, I believe, and
for sure. Go back in there real quick. So he's an older guy.
Yeah, older guy, 38.
Yeah, looks like he's put up like half a WAR in 25 games with Atlanta, so he's not too bad. He fills a need. So, all right, yeah. So that's Atlanta and Fort Collins head to head right now. So it's going to be, it's really how these teams perform down the stretch to see where they finish and who maybe takes this division if they can both hold off their other challenger that we're going to look at here in a second, which is Tampa Bay.
It looks like Fort Collins is held off on the injury bug, and it looks like these guys might Atlanta might have got hit with a little bit of the injury bug there for a minute.
Yeah, they got a couple guys.
A couple
Bench.
guys sitting on the out, but got a relief pitcher coming back in 3 days, so there's some there's some relief coming, I guess. But looks like some guys are out for the
Some relief coming.
yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Atlanta?
Yeah,
Yeah.
should be a dogfight for the end for Atlanta and Fort Collins. That's what I'm seeing.
All right. Cool. All right. Yeah. Let's take a look at Tampa and see if we think this team has a chance to catch
This
the
guy,
other two.
so the team we thought was gonna win the division.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And we had both picked. We should say we had picked Atlanta to be second and third. I had them third. You had them second, and again, we had Fort Collins second, third. So we've kind of really nailed the top of this division, kind of to our preseason predictions. We both had Tampa first. They're in third. They could get to first. This could all be jumbled around by the end. So yeah, I'm happy with my prediction, I guess is what I'm saying. um, but yeah, this team, it's good with the offense here, right? Pretty good on the pretty above average with their offensive team stat rankings, and kind of same with the pitching. Just some good numbers there all around. The defense is a little below average, but just a well-rounded team.
Yeah, I like the team a lot. It's very well rounded. Looks like numbers are in the top five in a lot of subjects. Except for
Yeah, I
runs
mean,
against,
his
bullpen
shortstop
ERA.
there is hitting 310 with 28 homers. Like, it's an important position, and this guy's second. His position rankings on the left, he's second in the game there. So Hector Campos looks like a stud. Eduardo Alberto too, the second baseman. I mean, 28 homers. He's got twin power bats there, 3-4. But like up and down his lineup, he's got three guys with 17 home runs. So pretty much anybody can knock it out. He's tied for second in home runs in the Ice Conference.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yep.
He'll
Chris
be
Carmody on the pitching side. I mean, I recognize that name. I feel like he drafted pitching maybe. 12-9, 2.44 ERA, almost 200 strikeouts. He's pitched really, really well. And so has Montoya, 2.1 ERA, 16-6 right now. This guy's pitched lights out. Look at those last few games. Complete game shutout. 6.2 shutout. 7.2, 1 run, 8 innings.
Looks like he was the player of the game for the games too, as well. So
yeah, 13 strikeout game and that complete game shutout against Las Vegas. So all right, yeah, and
it looks like he's staying clear of the injury bug as well.
His bullpen's a little weaker than the other teams. That's kind of where his drawback is. I mean, that's
Yes,
not terrible, right? I mean, it's average.
it's average. Yeah,
Average in this league, apparently.
better than mine. I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like Tampa's a playoff team, but it's really going to be a tight race. I feel like
It is going to be a tight race. That
looking at
division
their
is
division,
really.
looking at the Fire Conference, like there's one team, there's a couple teams that are in it, but they're not playing well. Like there's one good team in the Ice Conference that's going to miss the postseason.
Yes, that's what's going to happen here. I mean, we can take a look at the standings and the wild card, but
Yeah, I mean, we got Tampa 2 games back right now, 10 games above 500. No one else really, has a shot down the stretch here. So between Tampa, Atlanta, and Fort Collins, this divisional race is like super, super important. Trying to win that division to get the first round bye, but then just like if you don't make that wild card, or if you don't win that division or get that second place seed, you may not be in the dance at all.
yeah,
Because there's like some strong teams on the other side.
it's win or go home for Tampa. That's what it is.
Look at their expanded standings one more time. Yeah, look at their run differentials here. Like these three teams have like played up to each other's level, like for the most part,
Yeah,
the whole season. But the hot team after the All-Star break, if you look there, Atlanta 23-25, Tampa's 27-22, and Fort Collins 31-18. So trending in different directions for some of these teams.
Yes.
We'll see again how the last month plays out and who hangs on to these last two, or maybe all three spots, right?
Yeah.
So All right. Any last thoughts on Tampa?
I wish him luck. The winner go home. So
All right, let's talk about New Orleans next. They're an interesting team. I feel like we had New Orleans finishing sixth and seventh in the conference. We didn't have a lot of confidence in his team. In Noah here, he did admit that he was focusing on his farm, so that's part of the reason, right? He self predicted that he wasn't trying to compete. So when you do that, it's easy to not get ranked high. Um, but he's actually had an interestingly competitive season for a while. I think he's out of it now, but and if you look at his team stat rankings, definitely below average team here in the Ice Conference. But looking at the end of his schedule in July, I think he had like an 11 game win streak, which is pretty crazy. It pulled him right up tied to Fort Collins at the time. So like I said, an interesting season from him if you look at his graph there on the divisional graph.
yeah, it's tough for me to see. I'm colorblind, so
Yeah, it's tough for me to see, and I'm not. So I need to work on the team colors in games so they don't have like four gray teams there. I'll have to find out where I went wrong on that one. Yeah, did New Orleans make any moves, like any trades or anything like that? Or are they kind of sticking with what they've got? I didn't
I didn't see.
note.
Let's see or
But,
take no. We could take a look at. Let me take a look at the trade uh, notifications.
I mean, their stud here, looking at him, is Steve Miller, right? That their number 3 hitter. He's only 24 years old. He's got 30 home runs. He's hitting 300. I mean, guy's got 5.5 WAR right now. He's a stud and he's young, and Noah's going to be able to build around him for a while. It looks like. I mean, he's only a first baseman, but still, that is a reliable bat to have right there in the middle.
Yes, New Orleans did make a trade. They traded starting pitcher Tom Lemieux to Denver.
Oh, okay, great, good for some draft lottery or
Yeah, for a ninth round pick and or no seventh and a third rounder.
cool. Yeah, so they made a little move and added some capital. That's perfect.
Yeah, good
Um,
move.
yep. Looking at Chris Barnett here too. I mean, he's had a pretty good season. He's had a couple of guys that have had a good season, but I mean, no one like really outside of Steve Miller, no one really wows you, right? And everybody's just kind of an average player, I guess.
Yeah,
His biggest problem is outside of his pitching, which isn't very good at all. A lot of high ERAs. He's got one of the worst defenses in the league. He's been pretty lucky with the errors, but terrible efficiency and zone rating. Like guys can't get to ground balls. Guys can't throw guys out. That adds up over time, and that affects the pitching numbers. So yeah, definitely some things to work on for New Orleans, who again is focusing on the farm. So I think if anything, they've kind of overachieved their own expectations this year.
yeah, I'd agree. But they're right where they want to be. So
And then looking at the next team, what's that? Galveston.
Galveston.
So yeah, Galveston Gremlins here. If you remember, Matt took over, I think in spring training. Didn't get to draft his team, but stepped in and has done the best he has been able to do with his team. He was involved in the biggest trade so far in our league's young history, with Marcelo Bland going for a plethora of draft picks and creating a little bit of controversy in the chat. But yeah, Galveston
Big.
inheriting a bad team, selling like he should, and hoping to rebuild for the future is what I
Well,
would
he
say.
didn't get to make any of these inaugural drafts, so he's trying to get all the draft picks he can, so he can make up for all those picks we made. So
Yeah, I mean he's sitting in fifth right now. You had him finishing sixth. I had him finishing fifth. So we'll see where that ends up in the end. But kind of where we expected him to be as well. Say, look at his team. I mean, he doesn't have any power hitters really.
no,
Ninth in home runs. He's just kind of just below average in everything there in the offense. Really bad in some of his pitching. Outside of his starters, that's been a bright spot for this team, and his defense has been above average as well. But let's maybe look at some of his starters here and see, um, who he's got. I mean, John Claiborne and Benitez, those guys are both. Claiborne's older, Benitez is young, and he's had a really, really nice season, but Claiborne's had a great season. Claiborne hasn't pitched much. Take that back, 8 games. But so
Yeah, I had
far,
to look at
so
that.
so far, so good.
So far, so good.
Yeah. Rich Meller, I actually tried to trade for this guy and just missed Matt. He got back to me a little bit after the deadline. I don't think he would have parted with him or we would deal, but really like this guy because he's a captain, young captain, and not a lot of teams, not every team has a captain right now. Again, the league's pretty young. Yeah, just like decent starting pitching. So that would be the one highlight on Matt's team right now.
Yeah, below average. It looks like my bullpen. So I feel you.
Yeah, I mean he's got the worst bullpen in the ice. It's 5.35 ERA. That is painful. 1-12. Rick Kell. You go, Rick. Let's see who finishes with a bigger number. Gauthier's saves or Rick Kell's losses.
Oh.
I'll go with Gauthier, but yeah, just some bad position players he's gonna have to replace. So he's got some rebuilding to do, but I think he knows that challenge, and again, he started to work towards that already. He actually tried to move Ed Serrano too, if I recall. Yeah, this guy, and he's pretty good. He was gonna move him in a trade, I think, to Denver, but it fell through for some reason or another. I think they had a valid trade. So,
Was it the no
yeah,
trade clause or?
I think you got to give Matt credit for having the right idea of what to do with his team. He's just not going to compete this year.
Did the right move, sold when he could. Yeah, I like what he did.
Cool. Shall we look
Yeah,
at the
let's
next team?
look at the next team here. Denver.
Denver Hemlock. Yeah, Hemlock came into the league with pretty high expectations, right? First time GM, and you can get grounded pretty quick. It's pretty difficult to go against other people sometimes, and there's a lot of people here with a lot of experience. So he finds himself in 6th place right now. We actually thought he'd finish. I thought he'd finish in 4th. You thought he'd finish in 5th. So he's having a pretty rough season, and as he's mentioned in chat a little bit, he's had a tough time with OSA, and then his scout not agreeing, as some of his guys have really devved down as his increased his scouting report. So he got unlucky with some of his draft picks. I think looking at Bill Rowe, the example he used, and Bill Rowe's his 7th overall pick in the inaugural draft, and he's not what he once was. I mean, he's still not bad. He's 55 overall. He's young. He just hasn't hit his potential, and I guess Hemlock feels like he may not hit his potential at this point. So, yeah, that's he's in a tough situation. He's going to kind of have to figure out what he's going to.
Yeah, it's tough one.
He also, I don't know. He's made some interesting trades here. He gave up Chris Jackson for Vincenzio Padovano. So Vincenzio doesn't look terrible. He's got 16 home runs, 61 RBIs. He's a young bat. But look at Chris Jackson. I mean, Chris Jackson's a young guy. And it's not like it was a straight up trade. He got some good draft picks in it. He got 2 second-round picks, I think. But he gave up like a 3rd and a 4th, and like he gave up some draft picks too. And I feel like he didn't have to do that for a guy like Chris Jackson. So just search that guy real quick in the top bar if you don't mind. Yeah. So I don't know. Chris Jackson looks like a pretty solid player, and I feel like he could have gotten a little more. That's just me. He's only 30 years old. I mean, he's not the best player in the league. So
No.
So, I mean, we'll have to see what his plan is for Vincenzio. He's a switch hitter, plays first base. Looking at Hemlock's team, he leads the league in strikeouts. That's kind of interesting. He's pointed that out as well. So he's got some really powerful arms with really good stuff, but just hasn't resulted
Starting
in
pitcher's got
wins.
193. Yeah, he's got a lot of guys throwing for strikeouts.
Yeah. The problem is, if they don't strike out, his defense is really, really bad. So
Yeah.
they get on base and they score runs. And again, if you look at his offensive numbers, he's pretty below average in terms of team stats right now. Towards the bottom
Yeah.
of the league in most things, actually.
Yeah.
Can't hit the ball out of the park, 11th in home runs, yep, 13th in runs scored. So he's got some work to do. He's gonna have to rebuild a little bit. He's got a few bright pieces. I mentioned to him Bin Ying Bao on the starting staff. There is a piece I really like. 2.65 ERA, 13.6. Um, he's just pitched really well. He's got good control.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He's got 3 pitchers that are almost at 200 already.
Yeah. It's
I feel like that's a lot. These
put a
guys are
good team
really
together. It's just I think
good
bad luck.
workhorses.
Bad luck in like he said he was his first time GM.
Yeah, I mean, so like I mentioned, he's playing against Fort Collins, who's got a couple championships in his other league. You know, Atlanta's shown out and been really good all season long. I think Tampa also has a lot of experience. So, and I know Matt does. He's from the other league I'm in as well. So, um, Las Vegas and New Orleans, they're both wild cards to me, but um, we'll have to see what they can do as well. And speaking of Las Vegas, I think that's the last team here in the J division.
Yeah, I believe you're
The
correct.
case. And
Las
yeah, we
Vegas.
both had Las Vegas. Well, actually, you had Las Vegas fourth in the division.
I don't know why.
You saw something in them. They said that they were focusing on the farm, so I didn't have any faith in them, and I picked Las Vegas to finish seventh. So Dylan is focusing on his farm. He's got a pretty good farm, but he does not have a very good major league team this year, and that's okay.
I believe didn't he make the first big trade?
Did he? He made that trade, yeah, preseason, Lemoyne, Boston. So we'll look at Lemoyne and how he's panned
Yes.
out when we look at Boston in a bit. But yeah, so he got some assets right away. So I'm not sure what he's done since then, if he's added at the deadline, um, but yeah, I just know he has one of the top farms, if I remember correctly, 5 farms.
Yeah.
So
Sports info, minor league rankings.
he's actually dropped down a bit, down to 60th. 15th, excuse me, 60 points. But
Wow.
yeah. Galveston is 5th right there. We were just talking about them. They were trying to rebuild with their assets.
Look
Again, Las
Atlanta.
Vegas has acquired some picks here as well. So yeah, Atlanta's got a good system and a winning team, so that's a good combo.
And Tampa's number 2 as well. Just want to make that.
That's pretty
Which
impressive also. Yeah.
it's scary, but
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it. That's
All right,
good
let's
to
go back
see.
to Las Vegas real quick and wrap them up. Anybody we're talking about? 34 home runs from David Razzo over there, their baseman.
Yeah.
He looks pretty good. He's young. This guy could be a future household name here in the league, I think.
Yeah. That hitting power, absolutely.
Aaron Smith, the first baseman, he's also young and really good with a lot of potential. So, some good pieces there. Hopefully, his farm actually hasn't panned out like he's maybe his hopes so far, but yeah, he's got some draft picks going into the next draft. His pitching is absolutely terrible right now. His hitting is below average, but not trying to compete. He's got a guy that's 3-18. That's really impressive.
He looks got.
I really like seeing shit like that. I don't know why, it makes me laugh.
3-18, 4-13, and 0-6.
Yeah, I mean the rest of them are.
But I mean, you also got to look too.
Like unlucky,
he's got a starting pitcher out for the year.
Loses nonstop.
He's got 2 starting pitchers out, or 3 of them technically.
Yep.
So
Dustin Ham, his closer, is really, really good. That's like probably one of the better closers in the league. Only has 25 saves, but he's playing on the worst team, one of the bottom 3 teams in the league. So that guy is pretty elite.
Yeah.
They're just having a elite season. But yeah, we don't have to linger too long in Las Vegas. That's the end of the J division. What do you think, Chris? What's your prediction? What do you think this is going
Oh,
to pan out to be in terms of a finish?
it's going to be a hot race, and I'm just excited to see it. I don't really know. I don't want to make a prediction on this one. How do you make a prediction on this one?
Are you asking me to go first?
I'll go first. I'll say Fort Collins. Just the hot streak they're in post All Star game. If it doesn't stop, they're gonna stay on top. And I think the way it went, they were on fire. That last sim we had, they were just on fire. So uh, I think Fort Collins is gonna hold on to it. Atlanta's gonna be slight for in a dog race right there in second. Who knows? We could see ourselves with the first season with a playoff for the victory of the division.
Yeah, I better look into how those work.
Yeah,
If that happens.
just in
I know
case
I
you
have
should
it in
look
the
at.
rules, but I haven't simmed that kind of thing, so we'll figure that out.
That's a pretty
So what?
difficult
So
one
what?
to
You
sim.
do you have Tampa? So you have Tampa third, and what do you think they're going to make the wild card? Or
Oh, that's a difficult one. Oh, that's another difficult one because I'm looking up at the
they're two
Sapphire
back right
division.
now. They're two back in the
They're
Sapphire. So
they're
we
two
can
back.
circle back to that. So you think Fort Collins and Atlanta takes first and second?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I think so. And
All right,
Tampa's
that's
in
fair.
there.
I mean mm, I'm gonna I'm gonna say that Tampa is gonna take the division just because I'm gonna stick to my guns. It's what I said preseason. Why the fuck would I back down now? Like it could happen. So yeah, Tampa is gonna win this division, and then Fort Collins is gonna fade right at the end, take second, and Atlanta, after a strong season, is gonna finish third. And I will save my wild card prediction until after we talk about Sapphire, and I'll let you know if I think Atlanta is going to be a wild card team or not.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
but yeah, then I've got the rest of these teams out of it at this point. I don't think any of them make a shot at it.
I love the bold prediction there.
The last
Love it.
part,
Yeah, and just
yeah,
love
I
that
thought
bold.
so.
I
Yeah,
love that. That was right. I can't wait.
yep.
Can't wait till you're wrong.
I'm putting most of my money on that last part.
Okay, good. I hope
Yep.
so.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Right.
So let's move that Sapphire division there.
That sounds good. Why don't you talk about standings here for a second? I'm just going to grab a glass of water.
So it looks like first place we have Philly, Philadelphia Eagles, with 87 wins, most in the league. Really good. We get in second place. We got the New York Griffins, Lehigh. We got in third place with 77 wins, and Somerville in fourth with 75. Montreal in fifth with 67 wins. Boston with 63 wins, and in last place we have Baltimore. Take a look at Philly. Yeah, Philly looks amazing on the offensive bars there. Those are some very impressive numbers. First in runs scored, batting average, on
Yeah.
base percentage, batting WAR, home runs. Wow, impressive. Impressive. With
Yeah,
that,
Dan's built an absolute juggernaut offensively. I know he gave up a ton of assets for Marcelo Bland. Let's click on Marcelo Bland real quick. I mean, he's got the top three players in WAR offensively in the leagues, and Marcelo Bland's one of them. I think. Yeah, he's got 6.8 WAR right now. All right. Yeah.
yeah.
But this guy is disruptive, and he's a dick. But like when your team's really good, I think you can kind of cover that kind of personality, right? Let's look at his
Mm-hmm.
team chemistry. See how they're. Yeah,
They're happy.
they're
They're
pretty
happy.
happy right now. And I think you're happy when you're winning your division by eight
When you're
and a
when
half,
you're
9 games.
when you're number one in the league because they have the most in the league. So
Yeah. Yep. Omar Gonzalez, look at his talk about a clutch hitter.
Yeah,
I think
46
of
homers.
his three power bats, that dude is wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Second round pick. If you remember, I told everybody this. I did like a mock draft in a test file while we were all drafting, and Omar Gonzalez went 1-1 overall. Dan was lucky enough to get him in the second.
Amazing. Yeah, look at all those home runs and his. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yep. Look at Jim Green too. That's like the third guy in the trifecta of just like, yeah. He's
Jeez,
just got three really, really great offensive players.
amazing.
And then, I mean, Tim Renfroe, 23 home runs. Like on any other team, we'd be about Tim Renfroe, right? But like on this team, we're just like, he's like a throw in. I mean,
Yeah,
he's not great. He's a 50-50. You know, he's got mediocre bars, but he's just been great.
solid season.
Yep. I mean, his pitching's good, above average. Not the best in the league, but above average.
Above average. Yeah,
Defense is about average, but again, when you,
really good bullpen.
yep.
Got a guy here sub one ERA. You know, love
He's
seeing that.
he's also, yeah, man, that's crazy. How many innings has that guy pitched? 0.57 ERA and how many? 31 innings. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. 1.19 from his closer, 38 saves. That's really impressive as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, bullpen ERA is second, so yeah, it's crazy. And also, if you notice, he's super fucking slow. Like stolen bases, he's dead last, and base running, he sucks at. So he hits a home run off you, and then he trots his fucking ass around the bases like a dick. So just not only in chat does he lay it on, he also takes his time around the base paths. So
Wow.
yeah, insane.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. 3 number one guys league ranking too, and wow,
Yeah.
just
Yep.
impressive team, Philly. Good job. Great team.
So he set himself up for big time failure in the playoffs, or
That's
big time disappointment if he fails.
what do we say? The first round exit.
Oh, that would be terrible, right? You can't be a
Yeah.
first round exit when you win the division. So
Yeah. Well, second
yeah,
round.
yeah. Let's hope he doesn't get cooled off with the first round bye, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Catch some really hot wild card team that's won like 9-10 or something.
Yep.
All right, yeah. Let's look at New York next. New York's second.
Where did we have Philly placing?
Great question. Yeah, I had Philly finishing second, and you had Philly finishing third.
Hmm. Yeah, I think we swung and a miss. I think we said Boston was going to win, right?
We both did say Boston was going to win this division. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about
For,
that.
for second, we actually had New York both finishing fifth, so we underestimated his team big time here.
Yeah, we did.
Um, and you made a trade with New York, I think, right?
I did as well. That's our team in second place with 79 wins. So
Yeah. Yeah, who did you trade? Josh House,
Josh
right?
House.
Pitcher.
Yep.
Yeah. It's been okay.
Yep. Older guy. I think was
He
supposed to be
hasn't done
two
that good in
players.
New York, actually. Did you sell him damaged goods? What's going on? 4.78 ERA. Gee.
Just bad luck, I guess. I don't know. The
Yeah, I
weather
guess
was
so.
good in Spokane, I guess. I don't know.
That's tough luck. Um, looking at
He was a
his
good
team,
pitcher.
he's
He
got
pitched well.
yeah, looking at his team, he's got again just kind of like Philly. I guess this is why he's been so good. He's got a really, really great offense. Outside of Philly, he's number two
Yeah.
in a lot of these offensive categories. Doesn't hit as many home runs, but he's got two guys in the 3 and 4 spot, both 30 home runs already. So two big mashers.
Yeah, Chris Robertson. Just
Yeah,
absolutely,
Robertson's great. Third round pick, Chris Robertson. I was
absolutely
still sitting there
mashed.
in the third round.
That's crazy. That was deep inaugural draft. How'd that
Neither
happen?
of those guys was a first round pick, so
Ugh,
that's great. Who was his first round pick?
I'm not
Do
sure.
do do. Is he on the DL? Found his fourth round.
That's his fourth rounder.
Did he draft Young in the first round? He might have drafted a prospect. Could be wrong.
There's probably a way to find out. We're just not
Yeah, let's
smart
not
enough
worry
to
about it.
find out.
Yep. So yeah, what do you think of New York? He's got some great starters there too. 15-6, 3.07 ERA. I think are guys that have had some good success this year.
He's just trying to bolster up. He's got a lot of wins in his lineup. Does House count my wins?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
if you
yeah.
click, you can see the difference.
Yep, yep. He's
But
got 10
yeah,
wins and 9 of them are mine. So
yeah.
thanks, House.
Um, but yeah, no, his defense is kind of bad, and his pitching's very average.
Yeah,
So that's kind of the liability here in New York, and he's got some pretty tough teams that he's holding off here. Um, but yeah, no, he's been a huge surprise to me. Not in terms of being competitive, but just yeah, didn't think. I mean, obviously, if I picked him fifth, I didn't think they'd be doing as well as they are. So
yeah.
just
Definitely a
big
surprise
props
for
to New
me.
York. Big, big props to New York for sure, and um, what they've done so far.
Yeah. Let's see if they can hold it off.
Next up is Lehigh. And Lehigh with the number one shortstop in the game, Rich Gordon. Definitely a sexy player. Um,
5th pick overall. Yeah.
yeah, yep. He's been really, really good this year. Yeah. Again, this division is all about the offense, right? Because
Yeah.
third, and that's kind of how the standings have played out. The better your offense, the better you finish in the standings right now.
Yep.
Um, Lehigh is not afraid to mash the ball. Second in home runs, tied for second.
And they'll
First in
steal too.
steals, yeah. speed and home run combo. So they're courteous. They run around the base paths.
Yeah,
Damn,
they
that's how
get
it's
to.
done. So, but defense, they're kind of an average defense, but lead the league in errors allowed, which is great. And then actually kind of an above average pitching staff. So this team's pretty dangerous, I think. Definitely lingering there right behind New York,
Yeah.
waiting to make a move. Jason Gartz, I believe, was a big trade acquisition there, hitting cleanup for Lehigh. I believe he got Jason from San Diego, and Lehigh gave up quite a bit for
Yeah.
Jason. But Jason's 31 years old. Yeah,
The
Gartz could be
Godfather.
good. I think Kyle made a good trade in picking him up. It was a good trade for both teams. A lot of assets for San Diego, but like a good piece that you can really put guys around here in Jason Gartz, switch hitter. Gonna love that.
Oh,
Um,
really tough division here. This is 3 really strong teams that we just looked at here.
yeah, I mean Rich Gordon, Jason Gartz there in the 3-4. That's like just I think that's even better than New York's 3-4 personally.
We got some
The
starting
pitching here,
pitchers.
yeah,
It's just incredible work from these pitchers.
yep, for sure. The bullpen's really good. Bullpen ERA is 10th in the league, so I guess the back of his bullpen's really good, and then his middle relief and his long relief are just garbage.
Yeah, that must be what it is. Because I was gonna say I would take that bullpen right now. So it
Bobby
looks like.
Bonilla, the
Uh,
closer. Yeah.
is he getting paid by the Mets too, or?
Tim Holdren's got 219 strikeouts. Does that lead the league? I think it does.
Oh, league.
Right? That is the league leader. Outside of Kerrigan, Kerrigan's got 221 on the Fire Conference side. But Tim Holdren leads the Ice Conference with 219 strikeouts. So, yeah. Lehigh leading the wild card in third place right now in the Ice Conference. So, definitely a really nasty team. Compared to my team that is also leading the wild card, I don't know. I think he's definitely probably a little bit better than my team.
I think he'd beat your team up.
We'll see. We'll see.
Scrapples would beat your team up.
When I'm lifting the first championship cup, then
I
Yeah,
doubt
we'll see.
it.
I'm gonna show you, Chris. um, all right, so yeah, that's Lehigh. Do you have any thoughts on the Scrapples here in Kyle's team?
Great team. It's this is a tough division. You know the Ice Conference is the conference I'm glad I'm not in. Because
Yeah,
I'd be in dead last. So
I think Dan and the Eagles pulled away with that Marcelo Bland trade, and maybe even just like slightly before that. No one's really catching them, but um, every team in this league is like I think would be competitive for the division in some of the other conferences. So,
agreed. Yeah.
all right, who's next here?
The notice too about those three
Who's
teams too.
next?
Somerville.
Somerville money line. All right. So Somerville wanted me to point something out. They wanted me to point out DJ Marksbury, which trust me, I was going to talk about DJ Marksbury, but most recently his last two outings I think have been pretty phenomenal. Um, yeah, or right before
Oh
that,
yeah,
right
we
before
he.
his last inning, 15.2 innings
It looks
pitched,
like
of
he
one
has
hit
a
baseball.
no hitter.
Did he get a no hitter?
Yeah,
When the
on
fuck
the
did that happen?
21st.
Well, how about that? Well, now we're talking about DJ Marksbury.
DJ
That is
Marksberry. Yeah,
some impressive work.
that's a no hitter right there.
I've always, not always, I mean, we haven't been doing this for too long, but since the beginning, I kind of considered Mark Spurrier one of the favorites to be, um, the pitcher of the league here, and definitely impressive right there with that kind of outing.
Wow. Yeah, the last 3 games impressive.
Click into that box score, can you? 2-0 win.
Let's see if we can.
Did that just happen? That was the start of last sim. So, hits the Roosters. I think that's the second no hitter of the year in the league. So first by a bona fide ace, the other guy was kind of a freak no hitter. Not to discredit it, but scroll down. Let's take a look at this guy's game score. Mark Sperry, 9 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts. I think actually is that a league record? Scroll all the way down. I think it is. Yeah. So Mark Sperry not only threw a no hitter, two walks in that no hitter. He set the regular season record, tied the Ice Conference record for 14 strikeouts. Okay. And set the team record. So great outing. Crazy.
Good thought about talking about DJ Marksberry there.
Yeah. And I think what JR was pointing out is that he actually went even, like he went 18 total innings of just one hit ball right there. So he went 6.2,
Yeah, that's
versus
crazy.
15.2, and then I think he finished the other outing or something. So yeah, that is pretty crazy.
Wow.
All right, let's go back and look at his team.
Enough of DJ
20,
Marksberry.
23 years old too, and he's got his first no hitter. It might not be his last.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, 2.03 ERA from Christian Porter over there. It's really impressive. It's just
really
been
good
really good.
pitching.
Yeah.
Really good pitching.
Yep. And I mean, looking at his team ranks, his pitching has been good. His bullpen's been really, really good. Even though it looks like his closer, like maybe has, I mean, his closer's been really good, 33 saves, but a 3.25 ERA is like the highest on the team, which is
Looks like got a little inflated recently.
yeah. Or something happened. He must have. Yeah,
Still got a save, but he gave up 2 runs. So
yeah. I mean, still great. Again, third best bullpen in the league. Pitcher WAR is first, strikeouts second, right behind Hemlock. Terrible defense too. So pitching pretty well through some pretty atrocious defense that might need to be a focus of Somerville moving forward if they're going to continue to compete with these other monster teams right now in the division.
yeah,
But
they're in the wild card race, I believe.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah, they are. They're winning the wild card, I believe. And
They're
honestly, like
they're
Chris
behind
Jack, yeah,
D
he made
High.
the trade for Chris Jackson, so he's made some moves to try to be competitive here. He's trying to keep up and make the postseason and beat out some of these other teams in this dogfight. So
Yeah, this was gonna be a dogfight to the end for this division for sure.
yep. He's definitely. I mean, he's going to have to rely on Marksberry and these other starters to keep playing well. If you look at the rest of his rotation, super underwhelming. I mean, not terrible pitchers, but they just haven't pitched that great. Warren
Yeah,
Center has been not great. I mean, he's come up in relief. Partway through the season. Has he suffered injuries?
he must
Nothing.
have
Nothing too serious. Looks.
2 to 3 months. He was out.
Oh, I didn't mean center, but yeah, good catch.
Center's
I
out
just
two to
meant in
three
general, he
months.
doesn't have a lot of injuries.
No, he doesn't. But the center just came back from a 2 to 3 month injury,
Yeah, so he's working his way back.
and Melville's fine, but
Okay. All right, let's go on to the next team.
Montreal.
From there, and let's actually mention Lehigh. We both had finishing fourth, so they're just in third right now and slightly above what we were predicting in the preseason. And then we both had Somerville finishing sixth, so they are also doing much better than we had predicted. So we had this conference all fucked up. This was the first one we tried to reorganize, and we just swung it pretty much everything here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Fair assessment?
yeah, very fair. Except for
Yeah.
I think the only one I got right was Phoenix.
So,
number one so far.
And on that trend of being completely fucking wrong, we're to Montreal, where I had Montreal finishing third. You had Montreal finishing second. And so far, Ben has had probably a season he's a little disappointed with, for sure, being 67 and 70.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
I mean, looking at his pitching, it hasn't been terrible. Like, his pitching's been, pretty above average and solid all year long. It's just the offense that's that's let him down.
Yeah, the offense definitely has let him down. Nobody over 20 homers.
Josh Bass, 17 homers, 291 at the cleanup spot. So, yeah, no superstar here that's really weighing down the middle of the lineup. He did go pitching first, I think. He said he did. I know his offense came out of the gate really hot
Matt
in the first
Mace
two
is his
seasons.
first overall pick.
Yeah. Yep. So, so he's focused on pitching first, and his pitching has been exactly kind of what he paid for. It's been really, really good.
Yeah.
But his offense hasn't been there. And
starters ERA's dipped a little bit, but
yep. I mean, when you look at this lineup for Montreal and you compare it to like Philadelphia, or you compare it to New York or Lehigh, like those teams have some big bats right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to Somerville just real quick, even. Like, even Somerville doesn't have a 20 homer guy, but like he's got just like more consistency through the lineup. So yeah, that's kind of the downfall of Montreal so far. I think is great pitching, not good offense. Again, above average defense, which is great, but if you're bottom three in ice conference in most offensive categories, you're probably not going to have a winning team.
Yeah, it's a tough division. Looks like
look at Gil. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go ahead, Paul.
I was just saying, look at Gilberto Caro over there. 0.83 ERA in the bullpen.
Love seeing those sub-zero.
Yeah. 43 innings.
Damn.
50 innings from the closer. 31 saves, 1.6 ERA. So, again, pitching's looked great. Offense needs work.
Yeah. Well,
Any thoughts?
On. No,
yep.
Let's move on. Move on to the next team, which is Boston, who we thought was going to win it.
Yeah, we both had Boston winning the conference. I actually insta regretted this right when we were done the stream. And no offense to Jack in Boston. I just there was one team I kept thinking like, oh man, this team has no starting pitching. That's going to be a problem. and that was Boston. And then when we went to predictions, I forgot that Boston was that team, and
Yeah,
um,
me too.
that's been their problem. As you look at that starters ERA is 14 out of 14.
Oof.
Um,
Ouch. Yeah, look
and
at
those are the
those.
guys you're relying to get you like halfway through the game most of the time.
Yeah. Like he's got. If I
Pitching
remember
more.
correctly, there was a guy that hit a lot of home runs, and it looks like he's got a lot of guys that hit a lot of
Oh
home
man, he
runs.
mashes. He mashes as good as any team in the league. Almost. I mean, his runs scored is down compared to some of even other teams in his division. Right? We've looked at New York and
Yeah.
Lehigh, Philly. They were like 1, 2, 3. But yeah, no. I mean, look, he's got some guys that mash. Sam Lemoyne, which he traded for, has been really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Mills, who he drafted, has been really, really good. Ricardo Box, which he drafted, has not a power hitter, but it's been really, really good. Like his offense is 3-4, his 2-3-4 are as good as any team's 2-3-4,
Yeah.
and his
I
five.
agree.
Look at Rob Coffey,
Yeah. Yep.
326 hitter, 24 home runs. Like, are you fucking
Yep.
kidding me?
Yeah.
So he's got those four positions down, but then he's got a bunch of 200 hitters to plug in around it.
Yeah. Very impressive. Just
He's
he's
got like
pitching.
he's got half of an elite lineup and a terrible pitching staff.
Yeah. Runs against. He's 612 runs against. Ouch.
Yep.
Ouch.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what Boston's plan is moving forward. I don't know what Jack's going to do in terms of his strategy. It's going to be up to him to decide if he wants to try to rebuild around these really, really strong bats and pieces. Try to get some kind of pitching in there. I don't know where you're going to find it because pitching is at a premium right now. Or if he's going to try to auction off these pieces in the next few years and try to get king's ransoms for each one and have an amazing draft class in a couple seasons. So he's got some decisions to make for sure.
I just want you to do me a favor. Can you pronounce the shortstop, the guy that's batting ninth's name, please, for
Yeah,
me?
in Tuiui Vidonio, I think we all can clearly read that, Chris. Um, all right, let's go on to the last place team in the Sapphire division. That's Baltimore. Steve has had a rough season, and if everybody remembers, he had a real rough start. I think he started like 2-0, so like great start technically, and then he lost his next 15 games or something like that. So
Ouch.
yeah, no, he got the message of what his team was going to do this year pretty early, and I got to give him credit though. He actually has kind of rebounded a little bit since that point. He hasn't been completely terrible. And he's stuck in there. He didn't quit, which I really appreciate because that would suck. So if you look at the info screen real quick, if you don't mind, and look at his history. No, this is the page. I was just looking so again, he started 6-18 in April, and then he kind of evened things out: 10-18, then 12-16, 12-12. So he's trying to pull it together here with his team and be a little more competitive. And really his big problem, the offense, right? Look at that. 14th, 14th, 14th,
Oh,
14th,
dear. Just
14th.
last and
Like his
everything.
team is just terribly offensive, terribly offensive. Yeah, it's offensively terrible. Um,
But they can steal
definitely,
bases.
yeah, definitely just has some work to do to rebuild his roster. His pitching staff is below average too, but he does have some bright spots over there in the pitching staff that I think
Yeah,
he can build around.
like
Um,
Cody.
Cody's just been having a great season, not a great pitcher.
Grant a great pitcher, but having a great season.
Sometimes those lefties, like honestly, can really, just kind of surprise you and be good.
Just,
Um,
didn't see a 249, 40 over 40 overall, pitching a 2.49 ERA. That's amazing.
yeah, he's got some really good bullpen arms too. Bobby Roberts is definitely underdelivered, 3.0 ERA, 24 saves. Austin Johnson's been really good, and he's got a bright future. He's 21 years old, so some good bullpen pieces. Again, I don't know if Baltimore has anything that they can build around this though, so they might want to. I don't know. Just start drafting and then sell some of these pieces when they can to get more picks, because they're probably not going to help you win any championships. Ruben Lopez there doesn't look terrible. 23-year-old second baseman hitting second. Like I think that guy's definitely a quality major leaguer.
Mm-hmm.
But Troy Oliver's not terrible. Troy Oliver's having a good season actually. 3.4 WAR. So yeah, there's some bright spots here. It's not all bad news.
Yeah.
Troy Oliver's definitely the best player on the team so far. He's 23, so. But yeah, we don't have to linger on Baltimore forever. I'm sure he can't wait to get this season over with to try to retool and do something better than what he's got going on. So, all right.
So
Oh yeah,
predictions, Paul.
go ahead.
What's your
Predictions.
predict?
Yeah, I'll lead off here. I think Philadelphia might win the Sapphire Division.
Yeah, I think they got a good
Um,
chance.
they've got a good chance. So I'm gonna go with Philadelphia Eagles and Dan winning Sapphire. I think second place is gonna be Lehigh. I do think they have the second most dangerous team there, and they've been a bit unlucky to be behind New York right now. And it's not even a knock on New York, even though I did have New York lower in the preseason. I think Lehigh just has some ridiculous pieces up and down his lineup, and he's got just the most balanced team in terms of pitching and hitting. Um, and then I would go with New York third. I think New York's got just those quality middle of the order pieces that are going to keep him going, and he's the hottest team post All-Star break, even as hot as the Eagles after some of those trades. So you can't really count New York out in what they've been doing this season. So that's my 1, 2, 3, and I think those are all playoff teams. I think Somerville is going to stay in the fourth position, even though they got that Jackson trade. I just feel like their team's not the strongest in terms of lineups compared to these other three teams, and they do have Marksberry, who might be a wild card, but he only gets to pitch every 5 days. He's not like a bat that can contribute day in and day out. So
Mm-hmm.
as great as he is, I think that's going to keep them in fourth. And then the last three guys, Montreal's made a run to be competitive a couple times, but they're just going to linger, I think. And then Boston and Baltimore gonna have to work on finding some new pieces to rebuild and look for the future. And
Yeah.
what do you think?
Well, I just want to know what you had a bold prediction that you were going to say about the ice conference wild card. Do you remember what it was?
No.
You said that you were going to make a prediction about Tampa.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll talk about the wild card race after. I'm just talking about the
Okay.
division right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
Well,
we'll break down it, and like we
okay,
did with
gotcha.
last night's sim, let's pick a conference winner and who we think is going to go to the finals.
So yeah, definitely Philly. Philly's taking it, and I'm gonna hold pat. I think New York's gonna hold on to it, and Lehigh's gonna stay in third, and
Okay.
Somerville in fourth.
All right. So you
It's
think
gonna,
the standings aren't going to shift?
no, I don't think they're gonna shift at all. I think it's gonna stay like it is.
Okay. That means they're definitely going to shift. So, um, all right. Yeah. So, okay, that's your prediction. Um, who do you think gets home field advantage to the playoffs? I think it's a foregone
Philly,
conclusion, right? Philly.
Philly, yeah,
Yep.
Philly.
And then
Got it by 10
are you picking
games.
are you picking Philly to come out of the conference?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
he's gonna.
well, let's pick wild card real quick. So,
I can't say. I can't say. Well, I have to say, yeah, it's Philly. Philly's gonna be going in.
I also have to go with Philly. They got to be the favorites.
They got to
Nothing
be the
else.
favorites to go. Yeah.
I'm not necessarily rooting for Philly. No offense, Dan. I'm a New York Giants fan, and I just can't see the Eagles winning in fashion and be happy. So I'll be actively rooting against you, but best of luck to you. Um, but yeah, for my wild card, I think again, Fort Collins, Atlanta, I had Tampa Bay winning the conference or the division, so that wasn't my wild prediction. My wild prediction was that Atlanta might be the team on the outside looking in after leading the conference all year, or excuse me, leading the division all season long. They've been trending down, and I don't know if they're going to hold on. I think it is going to be a toss-up between Atlanta and Somerville for that last seat, and I think Lehigh or New York definitely have the other wild card wrapped up. So,
Ooh, you think
what do you
Atlanta's
think?
What do you think? That's a bold prediction. I like it. I like that you make a bold prediction.
Yeah, you had Tampa in the wild card race with
I think I
Lehigh and
think
Somerville, right?
yeah, I think I have. Let's take a look at the wild card standings here. Uh, Tampa's down 2 games. They got to win it. Just keep on winning. How many Sims we got left? Two.
Got 4 weeks of Sims.
Four
So
weeks of Sims. So just 2 games back. Yeah, that could it could happen. I could see that happening. Yeah, I want to say yeah, I could see Tampa making it in there, and if Atlanta does continue to slide like they have been, it could be you could be correct on that statement, Paul. I don't want to make that much of a prediction because I don't really know what the out of the park gods are going to do. So,
yeah,
you know,
but you shouldn't be a pussy and you should make a prediction. Come
okay, all right.
on. Who are you picking? Who's out, Chris?
Who's out?
Make your call.
I'm going to say, whew,
Tampa, Somerville, Lehigh. Who's
Tampa.
in? Who's out?
Tampa's
I
out.
think Tampa's the odd man out.
Yeah, Tampa's an odd man out.
All right, all right, fair enough.
Making me pick. I'm
So
just picking one right now. I don't
I
know.
had I had a Philadelphia Virginia championship, and I think that I mean Philadelphia's the favorite. I think that's my pick to win it all. Again, I'll be rooting against Philadelphia, but that would be my betters line.
I think mine was Kingston, I believe.
I
So
believe
it's,
so. Yeah. So
yeah,
who do you
so it's
have?
Philly Kingston. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm just going with the number
Oh no, you
one
didn't have
picks.
Kingston, did you?
Yeah, I did. I picked Kingston
Oh,
yesterday
okay.
because
I thought you had
I
I thought
wasn't
you had
voting.
San Antonio.
No, I wasn't voting against them
No,
ever.
you had San Antonio because you
Oh
liked their
yeah, yeah.
logo.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Correct. You're right.
So yeah, San Antonio versus Philly. Who do you got?
San Antonio because
You
I
got
like
San
their
Antonio
logo.
with the upset
Yeah,
because you
with
like
the
their
upset
logo.
because I
Yeah,
like their
that's the
logo.
best way to pick. That's how I do all my gambling. That's why I always pick the Dolphins because they're such a cute creature. All right, man. That's the end of the
The
Ice Conference
podcast.
podcast. I think. Right? Anything else that we haven't talked about?
No.
I guess I'll just talk about playoff format coming up. So again, first seeds get to bye. Second seeds host the wild cards. So the second seed with the best record will host the wild card with the worst record. And then beyond that, we will adjust playoff seeding based off of record as we move from round to round. So we're going to sim the playoffs, like basically as soon as every single playoff team is exported and announced that they've exported in chat, we're moving forward with the next round. There's no like day-to-day schedule. It's just about, whenever we're ready to go, we're ready to fucking go. We're going to do some playoffs. And then when we hit the postseason, I'm going to post a custom postseason schedule. We're going to try to be respectful of the schedule, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. But for some of the less important days, we might just like kind of speed sim things up because while the postseason is important, it can also be kind of fucking boring if it drags on for too long. So end of the season awards is going to start on Friday. So as soon as we wrap up that final sim, you can start voting on awards for different players and stuff like that. And yeah, and also Friday, the sim. If we have any close playoff races that go right down to the wire to the last few games, I usually sim on 120 speed, but I'm going to slow that shit down and we'll go down to like 60 speed or 30 speed. Make it a little more dramatic for those teams that are fucking lingering and hoping to make, those hoping to get the best out of those last few games that mean much. So
Get those
um,
endorphins out there.
yeah, exactly. So like if Fort Collins and Atlanta are tied for the division lead going into the last two games, we're gonna slow that thing down so we can all enjoy the pain and the agony um, of defeat and the victory of joy from these two GMs. So all right, yeah. Anything else on your end before we
No, it's just
close the
best of
first
luck
one?
to everybody. I hope it all works out for everybody,
Yeah, for
except
sure. I
for
do
you,
too.
Paul. Except for you.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I'm gonna make the playoffs, you bastard.
You probably will.
I hope so. One last note: I am going to put out a quick survey at the end of the season just to see who wants to continue on to season 2 and who maybe isn't having a good experience. And if you're not, no big deal. I will find your replacement. We'll have a full league going into season 2, so we'll keep this thing rolling for everybody who's interested. So Thanks again, everybody who's made this league possible so far. It's been a lot of fun, and look forward to see what happens here in the final weeks and as we go to the playoffs.
Yeah. Good night, guys. Ended stream.